Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. We're back. It's Tuesday. No, it's no longer the Mondays. It's just the Tuesdays. What's going on, everyone? How you doing today? We got Mechanized Imposter. Oh, I forgot to click on that thingamabob, so we're gonna do that real quick. We got what? Mechanized Imposter, Blood Walrus, Cannibalistic Zombie, Rattlecan, 4-Pig Bacon. Oh my God. What do you mean 4-Pig Bacon? I turned the stream on at exactly 2 o'clock. That's when we always turn on the stream. What are you missing over there? Oh my God, the panic when it was time and I didn't see. I don't know what you're missing out on. Is your clock set right? What's going on, Route? Happy almost Wednesday, Law Dog. Chuck, Source, Paint Liquor, 4-Pig Bacon, D-Fresh. Hello. Welcome to Tuesday. It's... What kind of Tuesday is it? Is it a Taco Tuesday? Nope, didn't have tacos for lunch. Tantalizing Tuesday? Is today tantalizing? I don't know. But what we are going to do is we're going to work towards painting a robot. My goal, let it be known in the ether of the internet, that my goal is to have this done by Friday. Or by the end of stream on Friday. That's my goal. Hopefully we can achieve that. We'll see. I think we're on good pacing so far. So we're gonna get into it. First thing I'm gonna knock out before I go any further, because I don't want to forget, is I was talking to a friend of mine about this the other day. And one of the things that he talked about was how the hairline here is too... Oops, sorry guys. The hairline here has too dark of a line between the hair and the face. So I'm going to basically try and eliminate some of that darkness to help it kind of blend into the face a little bit better. Same thing a little bit down here with the beard. So we're going to feather it in just a little bit. And then, you know, I might take a stab at the eyeballs again today. Because, I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of tired about this, the surprised look on this guy's face. Hoosiers. You got me to sing last time. Jason came in and said, first thing, no singing, no dancing. So I am not doing it again today. You only get the Serenade of Jordan once in a blue moon. And I don't even know how long that is, so who knows when you're going to get the next one. But what's up, everybody? Welcome. Who we got here? We got Paint Liquor, we got Blood Walrus, Regnum Zero, Hoosiers, Over 1984. Hello. What's up, nerds? So we are going to knock this out. Here. See how we're looking at here. All right. No, Dancer, you're saying, isn't there an OSHA rule or something preventing that? I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. Jason, look, Jason is always here. This is the thing that you don't understand, Hoosiers. The man is literally always here. Even when he's not here, his eyes are always watching. When you read my YouTube name, I realized I was watching in the wrong place. Nice. Nice, Noir. Hey, you found us either way, though, so I'm proud of that. Alrighty. So... Oh, what colors did I use for this head? Been a while. Let's see here. What can we come up with? We can do a little bit of the bright neutral, or no, we did bright warm gray for the hair. So maybe I can add a little bit of that over here.
You again?
It's almost like I work here or something.
Damn it!
Hi.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
You guys again?
I know. They've actually been on their best behavior.
Jason's Santa Claus? I am?
What?
What'd I do?
He just... no.
The Santa in black? Yes.
Wait, does that
Not
make
really.
you evil? Wait, no, there's already an evil Santa Claus, and you are not Krampus.
Krampus is not evil Santa Claus. You need to read that history more.
Do tell. I obviously am not well into... I would love to hear about it.
He doesn't... He's the one that comes and stuffs the naughty kids in sacks. That's not what I would call evil Santa. Evil Santa would leave you like turds in your stocking. He would still give you something, just not...
Okay. I'm
Evil
on board
Santa
with
would
this.
give you what you deserve, which I guess technically Krampus does too, but... He said you're always here and always watching. Me? Well...
I did say that. They were like, but
Well-
Jason's not even here. Because Hoosiers did the thing where he was like, what did he... I don't have a mouse. He prompted me with the same thing that he said to get me to sing yesterday.
No, there's no singing or dancing. Route has it right. There's an OSHA rule that prevents singing and dancing in the workplace.
Correct. As written by
Me.
Jason. You haven't missed too much. Just hanging out, talking about how I hope to have this guy done by the end of the week. Is my plan.
Whatever.
What?
Planting tent stakes. This is the forever model.
This is not the forever model. I hope not. I don't want to be painting this model forever.
Krampusnacht is right around the corner. Half fox, half Pokemon, says Vulpix.
Was talking about how I wanted to eliminate some of these harsher, darker lines around the forehead. I was talking to, I don't know, was it Aaron?
You're off screen.
Dang it. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Talking to somebody about it the other day, and they suggested that those lines were a little too harsh, which I kind of agreed with. Soften it up a little bit, make it feel a little bit more natural.
So basically he's repainting stuff again.
Is
Is that the story here?
Yes.
Chat, I leave for 10 minutes, and you guys let him repaint stuff again?
I mean, they're going to let me do it. If only just to get your reaction. They're not the polite, happy ones. That
See, Vulpix says, you leave his stress lines alone. Exactly.
You leave his stress
I love that there's
lines
stress lines. 100%.
They are sculpted in.
Stress lines.
He's got all sorts of lines in his face sculpted in.
Paint Liquor, what's going on? How is everybody? Dan will be here in a moment to keep things on pace. Keep Jordan in his place.
Oh, yeah? Uh-oh.
Eep Jeep. What's happening, man? How we doing? How is Tuesday for everybody?
Oh, pretty good. How's your Tuesday going?
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah?
Busy.
Busy? Oh. It's a tubular Tuesday.
Oh, please don't.
What is that from? What is that comment from? Or that line?
Totally Tubular Tuesday. You didn't grow up in the right age for that to make sense to you.
Well, you're correct. Because I looked at you with a blank stare.
I felt it.
Those things have mass and weight, don't they? The I have no idea what you're talking about stare.
Yes.
Okay.
Dealing with a fraud investigation. Been fun watching the rest of your work stack up. Wait a minute.
What?
Paint liquor? Who committed fraud? I guess if it's an investigation you don't know yet.
Alrighty. Looking better. Now we gotta get this angle right. How do we want the person viewing this from?
Ismail, are we going to be around in the new year? Yeah. We're not going nowhere.
Last time I checked, there's no asteroid that's gonna hit Arizona, is there?
Hey, shush. No.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. No.
But yes, Arizona should still be here after the new year.
We
And hello.
we don't take any time off here
Uh,
at Monument Hobbies.
did I remember to tell you about that thing?
Unless your name is Jordan and you jump ship to go visit your family.
Hey, look, my grandmother's well worth spending time to go visit. And my dad. And Aiden. I think. Pretty sure. Am I coming back to the Northwest? Yes. I am going to be gone for a couple weeks, so I'm going to spend the first chunk of it before Christmas and Christmas Eve with my father and my grandmother. And then I'm heading back to the Pacific Northwest to give my love to the rest of the people who have become my family by virtue of being friends for such a long time. Also spending inordinate amount of time at their house as a younger wee lad. His mom is lovingly in my phone as Mom 2. Just so that I can tell the difference between the two.
You found someone had been forging checks and had a timeline and screenshot everything. I've spoken with 5 departments, including the bank, brought the findings to corporate, and I'm awaiting a response. Oh! Oof.
Ugh.
Forging checks. This is like the real deal.
That's like hardcore stuff. Like forging checks is like real fraud. Like, well, I mean, all fraud is fraud, but all fraud is real fraud, I should say. But forging checks is like a tier above just skimming some money.
So what is fraudulent fraud?
Well, if it's...
Is that also real fraud, or is fraudulent fraud fake fraud?
Oh, I understand where you're going with that. I feel like they should just steal all versions of things that include fraud and fraudulent and make them all be bad. That way there's no question in the statement as to whether or not something bad is happening.
Law Dog, nailing the copper.
Nice. Yeah, no problem, Law Dog. That's so much what I'm here for. I love to do that kind of stuff. So anytime you guys have questions like that, please let me know. It's literally one of my favorite things to help you guys with. I have spent a lot of time consuming information and learning stuff, and the least that I can do as part of my daily to-dos is to impart some knowledge to you guys. Because it makes you guys better at the thing that I love, which is painting miniatures. Defrauding implies the existence of refrauding? Is that the case? Is that how logic works?
I'm not hearing what it is.
Defrauding versus refrauding?
Refrauding? D and re?
I don't know. I'm
I
confused.
don't understand. That seems like a stretch to me, Chet. It's a Jen!
Hi.
Well, hello. Paint Liquor just found somebody at his job forging checks,
Ooh.
committing some serious fraud. And is a busy bee.
Wow.
So we just got a little bit
Probably
of
not the kind of excitement you were expecting on a Tuesday.
No, that sounds like the
work.
thing. That sounds like the kind of thing that kind of like blows up your day into like, oh, I'm doing definitely not what I was expecting to do today.
Law Dog said, Baby J, I'm currently doing the copper.
I did.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep on top of it. Luckily, they're not talking at breakneck pace like they are sometimes, where you can hardly get a word in before 10 other messages come down the line.
It's Vulpix half Fox, half
Wait,
I just
How-
see a long name.
how can
that's
a Pokemon?
unique, and I assume it's Mike.
It is not Mike.
No?
No.
How can a Vulpix be half Pokemon if it is a Pokemon? This logic doesn't make sense to me.
There's logic there?
I would like to
No,
think
it's
that.
like a bunch of made up words.
Well, Vulpix is a Pokemon.
Oh, God.
Well, no, I'm explaining it. Yeah. So how can it be half Pokemon?
If it's a Pokemon.
If it's a Pokemon.
Now that makes
That's-
sense.
that's a
I
logical
didn't-
tree
I
that
didn't
I'm
have
trying to
the
climb up right
context to understand that.
Yeah. It is a Pokemon that is in the form of some form of fox. Although I will tell you, foxtails definitely don't look like that, and they don't have weird like 80s looking hair.
Vulpix, I choose you.
So, Sue, hello. Ismail finished the first 2 books of the Eisenhorn series. Now I've ordered a ton of henchmen and Eisenhorn models.
Uh-oh. They got you good with those recent releases where they did all the like God, what are they called? Brain work, please. All the Inquisitors and stuff. Because that's like right up everybody's alley who's super into all that stuff.
Yeah, the Inquisitor series is amazing. I wish they'd get off their butts and finish it like they promised, but something happened in GW marketing that's causing that to not happen right now.
Oh, it's still not finished?
Uh-uh.
Oh, jeez.
The third Beckwin novel never came out, to my knowledge.
What is the deal with their like you said? There's got to be something weird going on over there because they're like taking a long time with some stuff.
I think that they changed their mind on where they wanted 40K to go.
Like over the course of the last like 6 to 8 months, sort of deal.
Well, it's been 2 years now, right?
Oh, well, I guess 2 years. Yeah.
I think it has to be.
It's just a weird, like.
The only thing I can imagine that they would do is that they've changed their mind and they're now having to restructure how that whole Beckwin thing is going to play out now that they announced that Constantine Valdor is back, and yet they didn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they implied it heavily, and there's been lots of rumor engine around the internet, but they're not writing the book that proves it. Because I think it has to tie in with something in the game physically,
Yeah,
and they're not ready to
sell
do
for
that.
Marketing, yeah,
Yeah, they're not ready to do
that.
that.
Makes sense.
You can't rush a good Inquisition. That's not rushing.
You can't.
I think Beckwin came out like during COVID, so
You can't rush. What a
Ismail
line.
says some stuff also correlates to the Amazon streaming stuff. Wink, wink. I don't think that's true. I think the Amazon streaming stuff is on its own, isn't it? From everything I heard, the Amazon stuff is standalone, doesn't have anything to do with anything. But maybe I'm wrong.
Flapjack just got out of meeting. How are we doing this afternoon? This is how.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about stuff that I have no clue.
Dan Abnett writing 15 books at once.
You
Well, the
watching-
thing is he did an interview that said that he was super stoked because this was going to allow him to have the biggest impact he'd ever had in both the lore and the game world was this series. And now they had that. He did that interview, and there's been not even cricket since. No forward momentum on that at all.
Yeah.
After he said that it was going to have such an impact on the game world. And of course,
That's a
my
lot.
thinking,
That's a big
my
thing to
thinking
say.
from left field was that they were going to revive the Emperor. Valdor and the Emperor were going to have to head off against Gilliman and the Lion on one side, and all the Chaos dudes on the others. You'd have Chaos,
I love that idea.
the new Imperium, and the old Imperium under the Emperor and
I'm
Valdor.
in. You sold me on that. I'm.
If
so
they were
into
smart, they'd do what I say. Because the story could then go on for another 35 years and not have to just be in the grim, dark future of the 41st millennium, there is only war.
that. I mean, it's a
Hire
good-
me, Games Workshop. I got you.
Well, they already did do that.
Kiwa TV said the jade and teal is so nice.
It is
Jeep Jeep
some of the
said
best.
Jordan agreed to bring me a go bag full of goodies when he comes back home.
That is not true
in
at all.
exchange, in exchange for money, because that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'll hand deliver a package for you if you pay these guys first.
Hobbybot, I'm with you on that one. They had to finish the Siege of Terra and get done with the Horus Heresy. That part I understand, but the two are I get that the two are combined due to labor, right? But you also have to understand that the last Siege of Terra book happened last year, or was that earlier this year? Was it earlier this year?
Yeah, it would have had to have been earlier this year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, earlier this year. And I'm going to be very honest, the
very
end and the death books were not good.
Yeah.
The story was good. The books as books were not good. We've gone over this a lot. They were not well written. They were written as a trilogy to sell more books. That could have been one book and summed up everything much better than they did. Right? Try saying it with a British accent and they'll hire me. I've worked there before, so. They wrote 2 Yunari books and then never finished it. Yeah. There's been a lot of that, right? In the world of sci-fi and fantasy and probably everything else too. You know, you get those deals where you're really digging a series and it peters out on you. I've got a bunch of fantasy ones right now. 3. One in particular that I think is called Song of the Black Sword.
Why does that sound so familiar?
And it's a really good supposed trilogy that's got 2 books, and the third one is just never going to come out. It's just like never going to happen. Because it's Monster Hunter International guy. And he came out with a game, and that whole thing's taken off, and so. Darth Nolan says, I'm really sad there's no Jihad era novels for Battletech. The King Killer Chronicles? I don't know this.
Oh, God. Have you ever heard of Name of the Wind?
Name of the Wind?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Okay. It's a book series written by a
Is
guy.
it fantasy?
Yeah.
Fantasy, I'm not
Yeah.
I usually
It's-
don't have a lot of fantasy, but I'm a big sci-fi reader. Fantasy novels are hard for me.
You probably wouldn't like it.
They
I
hinge.
wouldn't recommend you read
They
it.
tend to hinge way too much on the magic system being the only thing that can set them apart. Sometimes it can
Yeah.
be they twist the tropes on their heads, like elves and dwarves in this one are going to be different, or they don't do elves and dwarves, they do something else. But fantasy tends to all be very samey.
It's a weird novel. It's written.
F. Patrick Rothfuss will
Yeah.
never get the last King Killer card. Did he say that? Is that the author?
That's the author,
And he said
he's
not doing it.
So-
He's pulling an R.R. Martin.
Worse. When was? I'm pretty sure he's like maybe 10 years past the last book being out.
Oh, Mo says the Name of the Wind series is some of the best stuff I've ever read, and he'll never finish it. That sucks, right? That is an R.R. Martin thing. That's like
Yeah.
somebody mentioned it, Winds of Winter. It's like, wow, I really want to know George R.R. Martin's finish to the whole Game of Thrones because he's the man. And yet the commercialization and the HBOism of it has, I think, ruined it for writing it for him for, I don't know that he'll last long enough before it feels comfortable to release it.
Yeah, I don't.
He said we'll get it, but it's been 15 years. Oof.
Has it really been 15 years since he finished the second one?
Well, I don't know how you feel about the Dark Tower series from Stephen King, but it suffered this similar fate. I don't know that it ever went 15 years between books. It was like 7, right? But
That's kind of crazy because doesn't he write like really fast?
But the Dark Tower was a series that really perplexed him. He started it and had no idea where it was going to go. And if you read the forewords to all the books that are done by him, it's very interesting to read his mindset as he was having to go through this. And listening to fans like absolutely lambaste him on one hand and plead with him on the other that he finishes it. And it had grown a life of its own that he wasn't ready to finish.
Oh, okay.
He didn't have his muse for a long time.
Yeah.
And he found it through his other books and made it like the kind of interweaving book that combined his whole worlds together. There's a whole map. I think I've talked about it before. If you go look at the Stephen King map of novels and how they all tie into the world of the Dark Tower universe. Every novel he's written ties in there somewhere, even the Bachman books and stuff like that. It's crazy.
I need to dig back into doing some more reading. It's been a while since I've sat down and like really read a book. I don't do it as often as I used to.
Law Dog says the forward of the last one was it was an apology that it was not going to end the way everybody wanted it to end, is how he said it. But yeah, he didn't say it was going to suck. He said it was probably not what you were looking forward to.
Who said that?
Stephen King.
Oh, yeah.
And it was different for sure. But
book?
Yeah, I mean, it puts it on a this happens all the time.
Oh, is it the like
it loops
this has
it
all
forever.
Happened before
it
and
loops
this will
it all
ever
forever.
happen again?
Yeah, it loops it all forever, which I think is a thing that allowed the movie to happen.
Yeah.
Still prefer Dean Koontz over Stephen King. Yeah. Koontz has some great novels. King has some great novels. I don't know that I think they're comparable. I don't know that one is better than the other. I guess it just depends on what you like, right? Jen, I don't know anything about Warhammer, but I think I can explain it to you. It's like the show Succession, but replace the business negotiation with guns and the conversations with guns and all the stuff with guns.
I've never watched that show, so that doesn't help me at all.
Just tell her it's like Game of Thrones with guns. And that's what it is. Guns and aliens.
That Succession was one of the only shows that I've ever had to turn off because it was so anxiety-inducing.
It was like The Bear for me.
Yeah.
I tried to watch
exactly
it and The
like
Bear,
that.
and they were both were anxiety-inducing.
The Bear at least had, like, food stuff that I was vaguely interested in. But, man, yeah, Succession is just cutthroat family garbage, and it's just, ugh, can't do it. Wrenches the heartstrings too hard.
Jen and I were talking because I've turned off the music and turned on the books when driving again, but the problem is that our drive to work is so short that now the books don't really work.
You get like
and I
2
don't
minutes.
drive a whole lot of places where I spend a lot of time on the road. So the audiobook thing, very hard. It makes me, I need to come in and paint on the weekends again to be able to listen to my audiobooks, because that's about the only other thing I can do is listen to audiobooks. I can't have like audiobooks on when I'm like working in the shop or anything. So that's just not how it works. I would cut my hand off.
Requires too much focus.
Thinking about getting a good audiobook for hobby time instead of listening to us. Damn it.
Wow.
There is no book better than us, Dead Nerve. We are your hobby book. Dungeon Crawler Carl, Jason, for God's sake, give it a try. I don't like those kind of things, man. I've told you I would try it. I don't know. Papa Chicken says Miniac Signature Series win. Never. It's not how Scott works. We offered it up to him. He said no. Doesn't mean he would never come around, but we're kind of done with doing that. Everybody else in the world has picked up the shtick, and now it's not as unique.
Don't give us the face.
Not
our fault.
That's not our fault. Go cry to Scott.
Yeah.
He was honest about it. He said it didn't feel authentic because he doesn't use our paints in his normal rotation of stuff. He has a couple of things that he will use, but no. Eep Jeep says there's no more coming. Signature paints? Not on the horizon. We don't have any planned. We have a lot of other really cool stuff planned. But no other signature artists at this time.
Don't worry.
We have a lot that would like to do
Awesome
stuff. Mashik would like to do another one with us. So we have a lot in the hopper that we could do, but right now we're looking to finish the baseline of Proacryl. We've got the heavy body paints coming out. Obviously, we're doing all the spray paint stuff and the Color Forge stuff, so there's a lot going on right now. And we'll revisit later in 2025.
Eep Jeep, that's called the BYOB. You make your own bundle.
There is an Eep Jeep set, yeah.
Everybody can have their own set.
It's true.
He was your best chance at normal hot pink. You can make normal hot pink out of magenta and red transparent. Just ask Jen. It's one of her favorite combos. HBO should have put a clause in the contract that if R.R. Martin hadn't finished that last book, they'd get a ghostwriter to do it with NDAs all around. I don't know. I mean, you'd know it wasn't the same, right? Your set 6 is Wizard's Butt. Just 6 colors of Wizard's Butt.
That would be really funny.
Wow.
Anyone who's a hero left in season 1, Game Delay says. I don't know. As a child, were you aware that you would grow up to be so good at juggling? It doesn't feel like juggling. It all feels very focused most of the time.
Yeah, we're not. There are certain things that we're not that.
The last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones was noticeable. It wasn't George's work. How about the last 4?
Yeah. Well, because they ran out of material around then, right? Last 4 or last 3 or something like that. They didn't have fully fleshed out.
What was the last book, babe?
Fourth one maybe. I don't know.
I feel like he didn't have anything solid written after that. He consulted with them to help them understand the direction he was trying to go from everybody's word, but those guys were DBs. I'm just going to say it out loud. The fact that they sat at Comic-Con or wherever it was at the convention and told their fans that magic was stupid and that they weren't trying to include magic, that it was the dumbest thing ever, just showed me exactly where the producers' heads were at. I'm like, well, that maybe don't do a fantasy thing.
5.
What's that?
I think there's 5.
And then
5 books, but there were supposed to be 7.
Yeah. So there's two more.
But remember that the show was not told like the books. So there's a lot of things, even in the first few seasons, that had to be made outside of the lines of the books.
For sure, because the books
were not in chronological order.
I tried to read those books, and I couldn't.
They're very good.
I liked the book.
They're very
You
good.
did?
I had to stop reading because they got me to a point where I'm like, this is going to piss me off when it doesn't end.
I have a question for you, Jen, related to the books. If I really liked the political back and forth that happens in the in movies, the show, do I get more of that in the book than I do?
Probably. The books are just a lot more detailed. There's also a lot of additional stories that were not told in the show.
Yeah, there are more characters.
And like certain characters lived longer in the books and had a more prominent role.
Well, I'm familiar with like the character of like was it like Lady Blackheart or something like that. I won't spoil anything for people who don't know, but
I mean, you can do spoilers for Game of Thrones. It's been like a billion
honestly,
years.
It's been so long since I've read them.
Yeah.
Like I read the books before I started watching the show. It was in well, I probably read the books starting in 2015.
Okay.
And then watched. Like I read the first book before I watched the first season.
Got it.
It had been on.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Oh, because you guys didn't start watching it for a long time.
Jason had watched it.
I made her watch it.
He watched 3 seasons before I started.
Got it.
So
I had the DVDs. I thought it was great until it wasn't.
Yeah.
And it still was great. It just, it's like so many Hollywood things. The end just fell flat on its face. Yeah. The writers, they were the quintessential, we can make more money working on something else. We've garnered our name by doing this project. And you can tell when somebody doesn't have a love of the project and they're only after the money when they drop the thing that made them famous to go do something else that loses them a bunch of money. Like they got fired off of everything else they were doing until just here recently.
Yeah, they got fired off of Star Wars, right? Because that was the one that they had like locked up, and they were like, "Ooh, we're gonna go do the new Star Wars stuff." Not that turned out great, anyways, but Ripperino Star Wars.
They're working on something now that's actually got people paying attention. I don't remember what it's called.
I don't know. I stopped paying attention to those guys a long time ago. You don't like you said, you don't walk into a place and say, "We hate magic."
Magic wasn't at the forefront in his books, but it was there.
Yeah.
That summoning of the shade that killed what's his nuts was maybe some of the best like magic on TV I'd ever seen. Where she had to birth the shade that killed
Renly.
Yeah. Oh my God, how disturbing was that?
Yep. She was one of those really interesting characters that I wish that kind of make me want to have read the books, because I'm assuming that there's a lot more information about, well, not a lot more.
The Red Priestess.
Yeah, but at least more information, more context for like the Red Priestesses and what their deal is and all that stuff.
He is a good author. The superhero stuff that he wrote, not great, but
he wrote superhero stuff.
Yeah,
well, I guess that's not a
he
surprise
does
that
a
I haven't heard
Capes
of it.
thing with another author that he was like co-writer on, and another thing. He's actually a fairly prolific author. He has a lot of stuff out there. But he's one of the one that, I mean, you cash in on your stardom. I can't blame people for doing it, but as a fan, I'm like, maybe finish what you started.
Yeah.
Papa Chicken and Sponge. The sponge gives you the randomness so that you can really dial in the chips correctly, rather than forcing yourself to paint randomly doesn't always work. My brain tends to go in patterns like most humans. And so being able to do random patterning for the chipping is very difficult sometimes. So the sponge makes it easy. So I just take a pair of forceps with a piece of like miniature packing foam, you know, that open cell foam, and wad it up in a weird, pick it out to weird shape, and then you just get black brown and boop, boop, boop.
Well, Tomato, what do you mean? Ghostwriters are usually hired by someone who has a concept but doesn't have time or doesn't. How is it fraud?
Because it's basically just commissioning a book with your idea, right?
It can seem fraudulent when the ghostwriter is not named. The person says they wrote it, and it was a person whose writing you liked because they had completed ideas. That part I can see. Like if Stephen King, you love Stephen King books, and then he has somebody act as a ghostwriter for a book that says Stephen King, and it doesn't feel like Stephen King, you'd feel defrauded. He's still there.
I think you have to credit them.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know that you do.
I think it's.
I would hope you do. But I know I've heard these conversations before where people are pissed off.
Like biographies, where it's someone who has a story that they want to tell, but they can't write. So it's written, like they're credited as the author, and then it'll say with, and then the actual author's name.
Yeah. That's definitely the most common.
Yeah, I think we're referring more to like works of fiction where that's not the case, where it's like they needed a book written, so the publisher paid to have somebody ghostwrite it.
What's the guy? James Patterson has done that a ton of times, but it's always credited, but they're basically, I don't even know how involved he is. It's the author that's able to then get the marketing from Patterson's name.
So weird, that whole, just like have people, I mean, I understand the concept of like ghostwriting when it's somebody who doesn't write books, like a biography like you're talking about. Like, I would never want to write a book because I am not good at putting words on paper. I'm not gifted in that way.
Biographies by their nature are written by somebody other than the person. Otherwise it's an autobiography.
A biography, yes.
Right. So,
because those are different things.
They already have that taken care of. Biographies are expected to be written by somebody who knows how to write about somebody who doesn't know how to write.
But there are people who have written essentially what they're calling autobiographies that have someone helping them.
Ghost written. Which is probably more like extensive editing than anything else, maybe.
At a certain point, though, you might as well just write the darn thing if you're gonna edit it a ton. Sounds like a more complicated. Because even then, like, if you're, yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. There's a lot of like things that go into writing a book that.
Well, but then sometimes you have a book by an author that you love, and then another one comes out and doesn't even feel like it's written by the same person, but it was.
Yeah.
There's, there's having been through the sophomore slump in music writing and things that I've done in my life, I can tell you for sure that's a thing. It's a reality. There is a hunger to get your first works published, right? Because there's an idea of, whether it's the success or the finish line, just proving to yourself you can do it. There's a different energy that can exist for people in the first or early works that doesn't necessarily translate to later on.
Mm-hmm.
And that is felt by the public, which can then ruin your career, right?
I will tell you.
That's why you have one-hit wonders in music. All those people tried to make a second album. Guaranteed. But they didn't get to. Because it sucked. It didn't have the same energy behind it. They weren't needy. They made some money. They thought they were hits, And then they got lazy when they went into the studio thinking that, their name and their previous record would carry them, and it didn't, and then you never heard of them again. And now they play our Christmas party. Which is like one of Jen's favorite things.
That's actually hilarious.
Warren G. is playing at a Christmas party that we're going to this year. Last year was, who was it?
Young MC.
Oh, I remember you talking about that last year, and you laughed about it because you're like, I would not have ever expected this person to do a holiday party.
No, I would have, because I have friends who every year go to
really
this big. It's like there's some law firm in Phoenix that has they do a holiday party every year for their clients, and there's always some washed up 90s rapper performing. They've had Rob Bass, they had Kid and Play, they've had Arrested Development, they've had all these like crazy every year.
Wow.
And this year it is CNC Music Factory.
Oh my god.
CNC Music? That sounds so ridiculous.
So talk about a one hit, although they did have more than one. Like because it's always she it's like a guessing game. So she's like, hey, we found out who's going to be playing at the party. I'm like, oh, let me guess.
Oh, do they like keep it a secret until the last minute sort of deal?
Well, no, they just until they book it.
Oh, until they book it? Yeah.
So so she's like, okay, we found it. I'm like, all right, my favorite game of the year. Let me start guessing. Yeah, because I always guess it.
You do?
Yeah.
You always get it right?
Always.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's only like 20 artists you can choose from.
I guess so.
I'm also pretty well versed in 90s rap group.
All of these people are on her White Girl mixtape.
They're all on my White Girl mixtape.
Got it. Okay.
Except CNC Music Factory. Surprisingly, they are not. I wasn't like a huge. But they do bring back a lot of memories of going to dance clubs when I was in college. But yeah, so every year I guess, and I ask questions and gives little hints about things. And, the hints she was like giving me little emojis as hints, and I was like, okay, so looking at these, and like my brain really wants to guess CNC Music Factory, but that doesn't seem right, because that's not really the kind of, like, I don't know, they're like
doesn't fit the bill.
Yeah, they're like dance pop, kind of thing, and that's not usually the direction. But she's like, you got it. So.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Again.
How many years in a row have you gotten it right?
Like every year.
All of them.
Gosh,
and it's been many years. In fact, you know what? It's so funny because it has to have been since maybe it was 20. I'm just not as loud as them. There was just a post on Facebook about, like, from remember this day 10 years ago or whatever. And I had posted something about being at this bar called the Coach House, which is one of the oldest bars in Scottsdale. It's just this little dive bar.
Okay.
Is that the one we've been to?
Yeah. And they go absolutely insane with Christmas decorations. Like it's this tiny little place, and it's completely like every inch is covered in Christmas
It
decorations.
is literally insane.
And so I'm looking, the post comes up like, hey, on this day, however many years ago, you posted this on Facebook. And it was something like, I'm at the Coach House, which is the only place where it's acceptable to have Christmas decorations up before Thanksgiving. And she commented on that post and said like, oh, Dan and I are going to a Christmas party there in a few weeks, and Rob Bass is playing. So that first year I didn't guess because we didn't know. It wasn't a thing. It was the first time they had gone. And Rob Bass is like, I mean, that takes me back to high school. So I was very, very jealous.
I'm Rob Bass and I came to get down.
I can sing that entire song. I know all the words.
I'm not internationally known, but I'm known to rock a microphone.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. So since that, whatever year that was, I want to say it was 2012.
That's a long time ago, Jen.
Because I do remember being at the Coach House before Thanksgiving and having the Christmas lights up and commenting on how it's okay. Like normally I'm very opposed to Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But that place it's allowed.
That's crazy. That's like 13 years.
Yeah.
Almost 13 years. Wow.
They've had, I can tell you a bunch of them too.
Wild.
They've had, like I said, they had Kid and Play, which I was very jealous about that one as well. Arrested Development, which I didn't care too much about. They've had Tone Loc, which is good. I would have loved to see. I'm sure they had Young MC. Because I'm pretty sure he lives here. And
yeah, he does.
Yeah. But yeah, this year I was like, whatever, mine's better.
one of the people at EO knew him.
Yeah.
Because he's in there. He's like a neighbor or something.
Oh wow. Okay.
And you could tell he did not want to be there.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was so over a bunch of white business people reliving their college days.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Nobody ever has Robbie Van Winkle.
That would be, I mean, a dream come true for me.
Cruising. In my 5.0. Top down so my hair can't blow.
Roll in my 5 point.
Whatever. As an idiot.
That would be hilarious if we got.
We should go and try to get Vanilla Ice. Although now he's like, well, last I saw that guy, he was like a motocross racer.
Well, he's always been that. I mean, he did that as a teenager, but his recent thing was like high-end house flipping. He had a TV show.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Where he would go into these like big, huge houses and redo them.
Crazy.
Reality TV blows my mind sometimes. Just some of the stuff that it's crazy. Not in a bad way necessarily, just in a like, I would never have thought that would have been something that somebody would like record and put on TV.
I have to admit, like some of the house flipping ones are really cool. Jen got me interested in this one. I forget what it was, the Southern couple.
Yeah.
The gentle giant big dude and the little bitty wife of his.
What the show is called.
They were great.
They're great.
Like Alabama or something.
Yeah.
They took historic homes in Alabama. And
or do they do like
that was much better than the flipper flop retards.
It's a small town it's Laurel, Mississippi, and that's like where they're from, and
that's
they
cool.
go they get these old houses and they redo them for someone who's moving into the town, and they always incorporate something historic, like some historic facts about the home and who lived there in the town. It's really good. Yeah.
That's like
it felt really good because the stories behind them were like, this was the house that, this old thing, it's been around here forever. And then they wind up selling it to people that, are interested in all that. It just seems more holistic, or is that the right word? Not holistic. Wholesome. Than, like I said, like flip or flop, where the whole thing is the husband arguing with the wife over her design choices for tile in the living room.
That's Fizzlet. Are you saying Vanilla Ice is a construction contractor? But yeah, he's got I can't. trying to find out what the name of the show is. Oh, the Vanilla Ice Project. There you go.
Crazy.
It's called what?
The Vanilla Ice Project.
How funny. Pimp My Ride, yeah.
Yeah, Pimp My Ride.
Man, it's been a long time since I've heard of that show.
That was Exhibit, right?
Yeah.
That was started by some rapper?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I guess that would explain a lot.
That was in the time where everything was, we also went through like Gas Monkey Garage, the Orange County Choppers.
I remember all of
The
these.
Gas Monkey Garage Show was pretty good.
What's that?
The Gas Monkey Garage Show was good.
It was good when it started.
I think that's the one I don't remember. I definitely remember Orange County Choppers. I remember.
I have to admit, I'm very petty because I met in Dallas the Gas Monkey guy because that's where they're from, and he was a horrible person.
They usually are, like Jesse James is.
He what?
Jesse James was too. Is still a terrible person.
And that was a weird one because I met him in the motorcycle world, and he seemed way more down to earth. But I didn't really deal with him much.
My brother worked for him.
The people that worked there hated him.
My brother worked at West Coast Choppers, and yeah.
Yeah, the people that worked at West Coast Choppers really didn't like him. I knew some of the guys that were welders there, and they were like, nah.
They don't have a good word to say about him. And he was married to Sandra Bullock and cheated on her. How do you do that?
Yeah,
wait,
Like,
what?
just
How do you ruin Sandra Bullock?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
She seems like the most wholesome person. I know she's not, but
There's a question here though. Chris Wolnowitz. Jordan, do you have a dope recipe for egg white cream cloth?
There is a good one on our shorts. It's a little bit older. I'll give you one here too, but if you want to see it like really painted, for like a tabard or something like that, we did that. Oh man, that was almost one of the oldest ones that we've done. You're gonna scroll down for a little bit, you'll see it. But in general, I like to work up from browns or some like pale khaki colors, to do that, just so that you have like a nice good coverage layer to start from, and then you build up these nice like cream colors on top of them. So right now one of my go-tos is caramel brown. I really like caramel brown for that sort of thing. That's a little bit on the warmer side. If you want something that's a little bit more in the kind of the neutral range, you could do light umber would be a good option there. And then you want to build your cream colors on top of these colors. So you want to use things like, dark ivory or khaki to build up on top and mix into those previous colors. And as you build up those layers, you'll get this really nice, rich, like cream color. But those are some two good options. And then Jen went ahead and linked the YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, you can hit on the Shorts tab and scroll down. You'll see all of our short form video content that we do. We do like little tutorials that are usually they're like 5 steps with 3 different colors. They're really easy to follow along. They're 1 minute each, so they're really, really accessible. And they just walk you through how to paint one particular thing. Chris says, thanks, you guys rock. I'll find an excuse to buy more stuff next week. All right. Well, I fully support that because you'll love it. Procurl is nothing if not going to help you do better, more amazing things as an artist.
We got such a tremendous email the other day from a new painter who was like just going on and on about how he didn't know what we did, but the magic in the paint made him feel like a better painter over everything else he'd used as a starter. He thought he was doing something wrong. He kept watching different YouTube videos, and he's like, I swear I'm doing what they're doing in the video. He's like, then I got your paint, and everything I was doing looked better without switching anything he was doing. And I was like, you know what? That's the experience we wish everybody could have.
Yep.
That's why we made Procurl the way we did, is because that's the way paint should make you feel. The experience of painting should feel like that. It should feel like, I swear I'm doing it right. It's my tools.
I love talking to people who are new to the hobby, because it's always, I get to kind of to some extent live vicariously through them on having never experienced the awesome things that I get to enjoy on a daily basis. but like with new glasses, like never seen it before, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed sort of deal. And being able to help people along and get excited about the same hobby that I'm super excited, it's awesome. It's great. Tutorial Hall of Fame is awesome for all the methodology paints. Yeah, the methodology page in the Discord will also have those as well. Most of those shorts are written up as methodologies. And there are some methodologies that were before the time of the shorts. You can check out some other cool tutorials.
Old methodology.
Because you started doing the methodologies how long ago? Very long time ago, right?
Yeah, they were based on stuff we painted on stream.
Yeah.
So the short used to be us painting on stream, and people would say, "Oh, that needs to be a methodology," and so we would capture it into, print on how to achieve what we did on the stream. Then we started doing the shorts. There we go.
So what else do you have left on this guy, Jason?
I don't know, 50 million more doots of highlighting highlights on top of highlights. Yo, dog, I heard you liked highlights and chipping, and so we did some highlights on your chipping so we could chip more highlights.
I feel like you're so close to being done. It looks awesome. The crazy depth with which you've gone on all the doots and the dings and the scratches and stuff like that.
It makes all the difference. Otherwise, it's just like dirt on the model. You got to make it feel like the scratches have a reason to be on there, or it's just specks of paint.
Well, especially since the model is so large too, right? Like the larger the model, the larger you have to make these things, and the more detailed you have to make them to be in scale with how big those surfaces are now. And the bigger the model, the more you're gonna have these like larger flat planes of surface that you got to do something with.
Well, I mean, you could paint this thing like it was brand new. There's nothing that says you couldn't do it as a nice shiny mech.
Roll it right off the.
But storytelling through weathering is a really fun way to do anything that we do, whether it's Space Marines or whatever else. They're in combat, so the parade ready armor doesn't appeal to me a lot of times. So I like doing this, but it is also a chore because you need to take it the distance if you're going to do it, and there's a fine line between too much and not enough to sell it. You've seen the people that do their Nurgle where it's so far over the top with weathering that you can't tell what's going on. It's hard to look at. And then there's
Timberwolf, the one that you're painting?
Huh?
The Timberwolf is the one you're painting, right?
Timberwolf, yeah.
Oh, they're making the joke that I like to repaint things.
Not Jason's stuff.
I know. I would never. No. I refuse. Even if Jason told me to do it, I would say no. Well, I'd have to figure that one out because that one's really tough. Because where do you draw the line? Like Jason,
Here,
I will
prime this and repaint it, Jordan.
I don't feel comfortable with this. Jason, I would really feel more comfortable with this if you were to reprime and repaint this model, so I don't feel like I ruined a paint job that you already did. Ugh. My stuff, easy. I don't need to ask permission to repaint things that I feel like I've messed up on my own models or models that I'm painting here on stream. But this guy's models?
Source said, how well did Jordan know Pro Acryl paints before joining the team?
Very.
Yeah. I had how long have I had my set of paints? For a long time. Because we got set up.
I think that when you got the first paints, there was only expansion sets 1 and 2.
Yeah, because I didn't have...
You had the transparents, and you had the
Correct.
base set, and you had expansion set 1.
That is
Maybe
exactly
the metallics
correct.
would have been out.
I did have metallics.
But yeah, so you know, expansions
that long ago.
3, 4, and all those signature sets and everything else. And remember, we didn't release any expansions for a long time, as we had to continually build to get production to meet demand for years. So it felt like we didn't have releases there for a long time.
Yeah, and I used them almost exclusively the whole time through. It was just the best paint that I had. I've loved it the whole time. I've used it tons, which was nice because Jason was like, "Well, hey, come check this out." I was like, "Well, that's convenient because I happen to really enjoy using this paint that you gave me a long time ago." And he was really cool, on the other hand, too, coming from the consumer side, as somebody who had used and really liked the paint, coming in and starting to learn from Jason all of the nuance of what makes Procro really, really, really awesome. And I learned a ton just about how paint works from you and the whole process of getting in here, right? Because I mean, I had painted a long time. I'd painted studio models and stuff like that, but you get really familiar with how paint functions, but you don't really understand how paint works, if that makes sense. And understanding the nuance of why paint does what it does is actually really helpful in a lot of different ways.
Oh yeah, by far.
That you wouldn't expect. Oh gosh. Put that on there. We're brightening up this inside leg here. This kind of knee joint here that I painted gold is a little bit brighter than the surrounding area. And I want this to be a little bit of a focal point when you kind of rotate it in and look at this part. It basically kind of covers it at this sort of angle. Let me see if I can get a good view on that. So kind of that part, everything up there, above there that I want to the left, oh my gosh, the northwest part of my brush, like this part up here, I want to be a little bit brighter. So I'm going really, really slow with just the dark gray blue and adding just a little bit of the bright pale yellow into it, which is what I've been using for the rest of the model. Just little bits at a time so that I don't make it too bright, because it's really easy to make it too bright from there.
Hello, Slayer Street.
Slayer Street, what's going on?
So I have been revisiting The Division. I've mentioned that.
Okay.
The Division 2, to be exact. Oh, wow. That unfortunate. This laser over here doesn't have an inside face. It's like a tube. There's nothing to paint on the inside.
Wait, which one?
This one? That laser right there?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like sunken. It's a complete tube.
Oh, weird.
So that's going to suck. That means I can't get the laser effect on it because it doesn't have anything in there to paint. It's going to look dark. I wonder if I can just kind of fake it by
painting the inside of the tube.
Paint the inside of the tube white and maybe get lucky. Yeah. That'll work.
Yeah, that's close enough.
That's sad, though. That's a bummer. Yeah, so I've been revisiting The Division 2. I've been talking about it on stream because Jen comes in and says, "Are you smoking fools?" And I say, "Yes, honey. I am smoking all of the fools." Mm-hmm. So I was being very frustrated. I was having a very frustrated time playing my game because I'm an idiot.
Uh-oh.
So, you know, I'm like three-quarters of the way through all the missions and the story, and I love the story of The Division. It's great. Tom Clancy, he actually writes for it. It's a good fiction. The way it plays out, the way the characters talk to you, the way the story unfolds, even though it's limited voiceover stuff, it's great. It's powerful. The story's like, it has good twists in it. It's the right way to play a novel, in my opinion, because you can play it and never know there's a novel behind it, or not a novel, but there's never, the story can just be tangential to you playing, and it's a fun game. Or you can play it and you can be like, oh, what's happening next? And but last night, or the night before last, I realized, I was like, man, I was beating myself against a wall trying these missions in this zone, and I was getting murdered, and it was taking too long to kill everything, and I was like, God, I'm just so under geared, and yet and then I started getting drops because I kept going after it, and I killed the elites, and I got ridiculous drops, and I was like, this is awesome. And then my power level went up dramatically. Oh, no. And then all of a sudden I started wiping everything out. Well, I went back and looked at why it had been so hard, and I was like 5 levels below where I'm supposed to be. And in the division, that doesn't work, right? It wants you to be like 1 level below before you go tackle a thing. Its level caps are not hard level caps, but they feel rough if you're like multiple levels beneath what they say. If they say this zone is level 24, and I was like level 20, trying to bang my head against a level 24, and I was being able to do damage. At some point, you don't do damage to them. So if you're like 6 or 7, 8 levels beneath them, your bullets won't even hurt them.
So it was hard
so I was
enough
doing
that
damage,
you were still able to,
but I was like, God, these guys are tanky. But then it made it to where the rest of the game was inconsequential because of the drops that I got. So, oh, gosh. Because it makes most of the drops, not all of them, but a lot of the drops will scale to your level when you pick them up, regardless of the zone you're in. So even though I was in a higher zone than my level, the drops were at my level, but they had stats that were unbelievable. So it was like, that's so amazing.
That's so weird that they set it up that way.
Right torso and center torso are machine guns. Oh, that's a machine gun? And that's a machine gun. And that's what, a small laser? So it's large, it's 2 large, 2 mediums, a small, and 2 machine guns? I need to paint that machine gun then. I think you're right. I was thinking it was a catapult and had 4 medium lasers. That's my bad. Because the catapult has the 4 mediums on the nose. And so I was taking that it was large, medium, 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 but it's not. It's large, medium, small machine guns. Oh, this is a medium pulse. So it'll be green too. So blue, green, machine guns don't get color. All right, good. Thank you for that.
There is something that's oddly satisfying that this particular model has a loadout that you just like know exactly what all of these guns are.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of know in Battletech everything anyway. There's not a whole lot until you get into like the late stuff and Jihad era. What the heck is that gun anyway? It's like 5 different gun choices. Source says, you guys have a level of patience I can only dream of. I don't know if I go that far. How so? Because I'm doing 50 million doots on battle damage?
Greetings, salutations, Gates of
So my game went from almost impossible feeling to now I just walk through everything. Which made, I think, some exotics that are supposed to be tougher to get not very tough to get.
Uh-oh.
Either that or they've detuned the game at my level because of the expansion.
Do they still do like gear sets that have super like custom, not custom, but gear sets that are like for builds?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I used to play a decent amount of 1 when it was...
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Okay, cool.
The gear sets are different and the stats are different.
Right.
And the what do they call them? The not skills. The part of your gear that gives you the like ultimate ability kind of stuff is all different too. Not ultimate, but you know, like your exotics and high-end sets give you a named quality. That they have their attributes. They have a main attribute and 2 sub attributes usually. Yeah. And then the yellows and exotics have something else they do, like your
like
chest piece can cause
unique
bleeding
trait
when
or
you hit
something?
people with a headshot or something like that.
Got it,
Cause
okay.
bleeding. So they give you like those, those League of Legends style effects that, don't make any sense.
Yeah.
Cause like lightning damage on your gun. Every fourth bullet causes lightning damage, but whatever. It makes it fun.
It's like, why is my gun doing lightning damage?
Yeah, or catching people on fire. No, but everything's the same in the game. It's the same. It's just, I love the game. It's very exploratory. It's like they do such a great job. When the first Division came out, we were on the beta release or the pre-release with whoever makes it. And because we were still streaming games. And it was right when I moved here, I think. Maybe not. Maybe it's 2013. But in that in early 2014, and you get through the demo on the Division 1, and you can go... The beginning of Division 1 drops you in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go over to Manhattan. And then you don't go back to Brooklyn, right? So that one spot in Brooklyn allows you to wander around inside the perimeter fence. There's not really anything to do there. There's no baddies,
right.
But you can clip through the fence and wander around and see all the models. And I've said it before, my apartment building was there, where I lived on 81 Pearl Street.
Was it really?
Was there. The bummer is that you couldn't clip through the fence you were at the fence at the last stanchion of the Manhattan Bridge. And my building was right there on that stanchion. Like outside my bathroom window was the train that slings under the Manhattan Bridge.
Crazy.
Like you couldn't touch it, but it was like 20 feet away from my bathroom window was the train that is underneath the bridge. And that last stanchion for the bridge before it turns into Flatbush Avenue there was right outside my building. And you could walk right up to the chain link fence that they have in the game, and you could stare at the dock door that I loaded my furniture in to move into that building. And it was all visually correct enough to be so the level of detail they go to, and the DC one is the same way because the second one's in Washington DC. I was hoping that it was going to cover the part of the map where Nova Open is, but it doesn't.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
You can see down the street to where the hotel is, but you can't see the hotel.
Oh my gosh.
It goes off into the distance. But wouldn't that be awesome? You could walk around and see like all that area where the hotel for Nova Open is. That would be so bitchin'. But it's just really cool to be able to walk around. Now, once you looked enough, you can see the repeated assets and all that, the same piece of paper blowing on the street and the same little case and all that stuff. But for what they do, they've done a tremendous job of creating the environment. So
still an impressive level of replication of the real
awesome.
world environments. Right?
It's awesome. Reminds you of Borderlands. Really enjoyed that series. I wonder if the newer ones are as good. Of Borderlands, I found Borderlands to be pretty good with the expansions and stuff.
I have not enjoyed it as much as I did Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2 for me was kind of like the heyday of my enjoyment.
Borderlands 2 was awesome.
Yeah, it was really good.
Just recently played through Division 2, and my friend said the same about Place when he was in college in DC, looking really accurate. Yeah, it's amazing what they've done. They've taken like Google Streets to build everything they've done, color correct, and as color correct as the apocalypse can be, when half the place is on fire and smoke and bombed out and all that kind of stuff. But I was showing Jen that, you run along the street and slam the car doors. Because all the car doors, will close, and they're all the cars are open.
Can you open them?
But you can body them closed, and they make a slam sound. It was a thing in the Division 1 where we would run around, and it was funny because we mentioned it on stream, and then the whole game, everybody I would play with in squads would all run down and slam our butts into car doors and slam the doors the whole time. You'd see people running towards the objective, and they'd sway left or right to
hit
body a car to kill all the doors, just because it became what we did. We had to boot a dude out of our squad because he kept shooting dogs. And we were like, you can't shoot the dogs. In DC, there's deer. You can't shoot the deer. I don't shoot any of the deer. I did try to shoot a rat, and the rats are not shootable. I haven't tried to shoot the raccoons because they're too cute. But there's raccoons that climb into the trash cans around you and stuff like that. So there's all this wildlife. It's just really cool. I love the game. But
I have not tried out Division 2 yet, but it might be worth
It's worth going back. I mean, like I did. I just reloaded it. I've had it forever and only did like the beginning of the playthrough, and it just didn't fit where I was in my life, and now I'm having a blast.
Because I really do like the urban warfare type, like you're running through city streets.
It's a good third-person cover shooter, too. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the abilities are really cool. And there's still enough people playing it that when you get to in-game, you can get random
groups
crews.
or stuff.
Yeah, you can get random crews and stuff.
Do they still have the...
Division 2 cannibalistic.
Was it that sector that you could go into? I forget what they call it.
The Dark Zone.
The Dark Zone.
Yeah, you can go Dark Zone PvP.
Where you just go get
Yeah, and there's full-on PvP modes and outside of Dark Zone too. But you can go into the Dark Zone. I've gone into the Dark Zone. Doesn't seem like anybody's playing that because most people that are on the game are at in-game. And when they came out with the New York expansion where you hunt down Keener from the Division 1, the rogue agent, that's the expansion. It takes you back to New York and does like Battery Park and Central Park and does all the spots in New York that you didn't get in the first game, which is awesome.
Okay.
But when you go do that, it gives you an automatic level 30 boost.
Oh.
Right, for your character, so that you can go do the expansion, because all that happens at level 30 and takes you to level 40.
Interesting.
And so the Dark Zone I've been able to go into the Dark Zone, there's nobody there, farm the Dark Zone.
Okay, that's
and then leave. So there's not, I haven't felt that pressure that you did in game 1, where it's like, I got really cool stuff, should I go?
Yeah.
Or should I not go? Because you have to fight a hunter as you get extracted anyway, and... Did you ever do that? Where you go take all your gear and you pop the flare for the helicopter, and while you're waiting for the helicopter, a hunter always comes.
So when I played in 1, when we did Dark Zone stuff, it was all PvP. So if nobody was around, you could just pop the smoke flare and get taken out with no problem. But there was no like NPC hunter or anything that would come attack you when we did it.
Oh.
Maybe that's different in 2, or maybe it got
No, it's
changed
in 1.
Oh, maybe it got changed with an update, or I don't know.
Isn't 1? Anytime you pop the flare, the NPC bad guys come and hunt you down before the helicopter.
In the Dark Zone and PvP?
In 1, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, the whole Dark Zone is PvP.
Yeah, exactly.
You're always flagged.
Yeah.
But there's also NPCs there that you have to kill.
There are NPCs there.
Yeah,
yes.
they roam.
Maybe I'm forgetting them.
They roam big, yeah. And if you go to extract with your bag of goodies, then if you didn't have a bag with any Dark Zone gear in it, maybe the hunter wouldn't come. But I was always going to get Dark Zone gear, whether you're PvP or not. And
it was definitely like one of the coolest implementations of like you're running around in a PvP zone, you find some cool stuff, you kill some NPCs, you get some cool loot.
Yeah.
And now you're like, all right, I got to get this stuff out of here.
Yeah. And that's when the hunter comes and gets you. The Hunt Showdown. That's also a fun game. It got boring for me real quick. It seemed very samey. I know they add a lot of stuff and I follow it, but I think you need friends to play that game with to go do the hunt and all that. But I think that the idea of the hunt is amazing. Great game. 1,300 hours in and you're still not bored. That's awesome. The weapons are cool. The abilities are cool. The bad guys are cool. The Hunt is a really good game. I should probably go back and give it another shot. Cannibalistic Zombie. The Division is one of the Tom Clancy games, right? Where it's basically like it's pre-COVID. A virus comes out, and they call it the green virus because they made it adhere to money. It transfers by your hand oils on money. And it happened, they put it into the population on Black Friday in like 2012, or I think in their world it was like 2028 or something like that. And you're a government agent that is a super soldier that goes in and tries to keep the peace and bring the world back to normal. So it's not quite post-apocalyptic, it feels more like a zombie game without zombies. Has a lot of really cool bad guys. Ghost Recon is pretty cool, yeah. Yeah, Ghost Recon's kind of like The Division, but with only the single player, right? Although I guess you can do the Wildlands one I played. It was pretty cool. You've been banned by the wife to go to War Room because I keep bringing home more Pro Girl. Ray loves you.
You gotta read the rest.
You promised not to go yesterday, but ordered some on our website instead.
Oh, no.
You are trying to get in trouble. There is no saving you. You are your own worst enemy, my friend.
Oh, no. The Dark Depot, no.
That's so awesome. So I didn't go yesterday and bought it on your website instead.
Don't get yourself in trouble.
Oh, I love it. That's so
but
good.
she said online, I just couldn't go to the place. She didn't say anything about ordering online.
You did not extrapolate the fact that she did not want you to go to the War Room because you kept spending money on paint.
Yes.
It was not the War Room that was the problem.
Correct. That is some logic that will get you.
But I'm with you on this one. I got to remember that. Jen doesn't have any place she doesn't like me to go, though.
Kruger's got a question here for Jason. Hi, quick question about Jason. I am going to paint the Predator armor. I want to make it look battle damaged, like you've done with the mech. But I want big spots of black. Do I still need to use a sponge? This is actually a great question. How to do like stippling on like black armor, right? Because I think this is really difficult for a lot of people to kind of conceptualize how to create scratches and dents and weathering on armor that is painted in dark colors like black, which are the colors that you would usually use to do the stippling for. So I think this is a really great question, Kruger.
The trick, right, is to find that coloring that's going to make the chipping stand out. So remember that, like on this, we have a high contrast chip because we have jade armor and then black brown. But realize I didn't do black because black would be too high contrast. The brown gives me the feeling and tunes into kind of the rusty metal that's underneath. Almost like this is like, ceramic over steel or something, right? So, but that doesn't have to be the way that you do it. I could have done this where underneath was like a dark blue or a dark jade. It could be tone on tone if you think in terms of, like a colored material that's colored all the way through, then the whole can go through and it's still the same color. You get chips and whatever. So you got to think in those terms and say, what do you want to do? If you have black armor, is he saying the Predator is black armored?
I think so.
Where is it?
It's
the Predator armor. I want to make it look like battle damage, but I want big spots of black.
Is the armor itself black, or do you just want larger chips?
Right here.
Help me understand. Because if we're talking about the Predator from like the Alien v Predator movies, their armor wasn't necessarily black, right? It kind of was gunmetal.
Said no, it's silver.
Yeah, it's silver and
okay.
gunmetal. But you want black chips, and you want them to be larger because the scale of the model is different. So like if a shotgun shell hit it, it would be larger than these chips are to the size of this model, right? Because this model is 40 feet tall, 50 feet tall. And so a chip like that is like a 105 millimeter shell hitting it.
It's huge.
Right? It's like a rocket hitting it is this little bitty chip because that's what keeps the model in scale. If this were man-sized, then that chip would be a small 22 caliber round, right? It wouldn't be a big high caliber round. So you're wanting to have a chip that's bigger, and the sponge will do that. Remember that when I was doing it, I kept the sponge down to a very small size. I picked it to where I'm only dealing with, the size of, half of my pinky nail as the surface area, and it's not even. See the way it touches the surface. It has peaks and valleys. So when I touch it to the surface like this, it's leaving little spots. You could take a bigger chunk, right, of it like this and make it to where more of the surface area like that hit the model, and you would get bigger chunks out of it, right? Leave more paint on the sponge, press a little harder, and you will get bigger chunks. So the same method, take more paint off of it. Think of like dry brushing. If you were to take a dry brush, load it up with paint, and then wipe all the paint off of it, then go to wipe it on the model, you're going to get very little, very fine detailing, right? But if you put the same amount of paint on the brush and only wipe a little bit off and then go swipe it across the model, you're going to get chips and streaks because it's going to leave more paint. Same with the brush. I just nearly took all the paint off of this when I was doing it. I didn't leave very much at all. So that when I would hit it, what I'm left with is like almost just a hazing of little bitty chips that I'm going back and highlighting. Just little specks. Because those little specks are as big as a man's hand when you think about the scale of this. So it makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah, the sponge is great because it gives you the randomness. Right? You could use a dry brush. Our dome dry brush works almost the same way. It just, you got to be careful because it doesn't give you a random pattern. It's going to put a cluster of color every time you do it, and you don't want to make it look polka dotted, right? So the sponge is always the best way because you can pick at it and make it very random to where when you go, all you do is you hit it on the surface, right? So I hold it like this, and you'll hit it on the surface and get some dots, then rotate it 90 degrees and hit it on the surface, then rotate it 90 degrees and hit it on the surface, and then rotate it back around the other way, and all of a sudden none of your dots are in the same pattern. If you hold it in the same way and you go, it'll start to look similar because the brush will leave the same pattern of dots, right? So just always be kind of motioning it around and hitting it on various edges and such. But yeah, leave more paint on it, press harder, you get bigger chunks.
Bud said, I need to write a song. My father's roach clips.
The Guardian is like just over human size. And you'll see the way I did it on this guy. The sponge, like when I hit on the inside of the shin there, that was a big chunk. Right? So it's a much bigger scaled thing because this guy's only, large human size height.
weird sinus thing.
But like I've got bigger chunk up here on the waistline. That was just hitting it with the sponge, with more paint on the sponge, and hitting it harder. So I get bigger chunks out of it. But it's the exact same pattern that I've done here, or method, not pattern. Right. The idea is just to keep it at scale, so that it fits the size of the model that you're doing. Bigger chunks look okay on a man-size thing because you can imagine, big chunks of paint coming off. You've seen cars with, paint chunks like this off of them. So it becomes really easy to understand how that could happen.
Question from D4 Derped. I noticed you've released a new satin black. Is this a bit more close to a true black than coal black from the base set?
Yes, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
It is a it's going to give you a deeper black, which I think is what you're asking about, as opposed to more of a grayish black, because the satin finish helps with that a lot, and the matte finish is going to make it look a little bit more gray on the coal.
Sugar Rush said Halo is out. Any chance of you guys painting some Spartan armor?
We're working with Mantic on some other stuff. I can see us doing that. I'm not a huge Halo fan, so it doesn't super appeal to me. I've told Ronnie from Mantic that. I'm like, it's not up my alley, but I really get it, and it's great.
Isn't it that smaller scale stuff?
White over there?
Yeah.
No. It's full scale. They've done Halo now at full scale.
Oh, cool. Like 28 millimeter.
The Halo Ground Command was the one that was 6 millimeter that I bitch about so much because that was Spartan Games.
Oh, I thought there was a new one that they were. I thought Mantic was doing. Oh, maybe
Mantic is doing, but it's not epic scale. It's large. It's full scale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think I
scale.
misunderstood from our previous conversation.
They just have Spartans, and I think they're just releasing like some of the aliens. The first one came out, it was just the Spartan armor dudes. And
do we know what they're made out of?
Material? Plastic.
Like
I think it's just the
sprue.
The normal. I don't know if they're on sprue. I would think so. I don't know.
Papa Chicken said, what are your thoughts on putting metallic in the middle of the larger chunks to imply a layer of primer on the middle?
You could do that. You could put metallics in them. You can put rusty colors in them. I could go back and put oranges and yellows into the brown chunks on this if I wanted to. I'm not really doing that on these, but you could. If I rust them, it makes them look really old and not taken care of, whereas no rust helps a little bit with that, making it feel like it's more of a, it may not be recent, but at least they're still taking care of the mech, which is the goal I'm after.
Kruger said, Jason, because gunmetal is the base color of the armor, when I do the highlights of the battle damage spots, should I just use straight white tone?
I think a bright gray would work better. Right? You do the black chip, and then you put bright gray, like bright neutral gray. I don't know that I would go white. I'm painting with pure white here. This is white transparent. I painted with titanium white on the inside of these lasers because I want the brightness, because I'm going to put the transparent over it. But no, I wouldn't suggest white. I would still use bright neutral gray. Bright warm gray even could work. Load something up that looks like a white that can be the trick. But I would start with a neutral gray. You saw me on this guy do the first highlight of all the chips with turquoise. The same thing I had done the edge highlighting for the armor with. Right? Do it with the turquoise. And then come back after that with the blue-white. So find what color, what are you highlighting the edges of the armor with already if you weren't going to chip it. If you were here when I started talking about the model, I always paint it as if it has 0 battle damage first. That lines all my colors out. And then I go back and add the battle damage, already knowing what my colors need to be.
Berries 14, thank you for the follow.
Because I take the same edge highlight all the chips once I put them on there, then highlight the chips a little bit further. Same way I did the highlights on the rest of the model. But yeah, you could use a metallic in there as an accent color, rust colors, anything you can dream of you can put in there. Yeah, I think it's called Halo Dead Zone, or no, Dead Zone Firefight is their other sci-fi game. It's called, I forget what it's called. But yeah, I don't know if the rules are similar or not. The only Mantic game that I play is Kings of War.
You said you really like that game, right?
It's amazing. Kings of War is one of the best rank and flank games out there because it simplifies the whole idea of putting your models on big, square ranks.
Yeah, you don't have individual models to pull off.
You don't pull off
the brick
models
just has
for
health,
wounds.
right?
The thing takes wounds, and as it takes wounds, it makes the target number to break it easier for your opponent to roll.
Interesting.
So if it starts with 23 wounds, it can take wounds, and as it does, it has a number to rout, which takes it off the table, and to stun it. Not the right terms. And if your opponent does damage, they add the number of wounds they did to a 2d6 roll, and that gives them a target number, and that then you match against that number that your unit has.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have 30 wounds, I might stun at 23 and break at 27, or break at 25. So there's only like a 2 range in there.
Yeah.
And they roll 2d6 against the amount of wounds you've taken, and they get the target number. So you take 1 or 2 wounds, it's very rare unless they boxcar that you're going to have anything bad happen. And so it makes it feel pretty good. Yeah. But you're not pulling models off. They say you should model those stands with like 60% in the rules. I think it's 60% of the model total that's supposed to be on there, but most people do 50. So if it's supposed to be 20 dudes, they'll model 10, but it lets you do really cool dioramas with dudes leaping off the ground.
I was about to say, like, I remember walking through at Nova. And
Flashpoint,
absolutely amazingly.
Some people really get into it.
It's cool.
It allows you to go nuts with the hobby.
Yeah, it's super cool.
And if that's the only game you play, then you don't even have to do the models on individual basis. You don't slot them into a stand.
Yeah,
but a lot of people paint their Age of Sigmar models and then use the movement trays that they stick those in because they make Kings of War movement trays for the Warhammer size bases.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah, that's so that you can have a plate that has 20 dudes, has 10 Age of Sigmar size base holes in it, and you place your models in there. That way you can use like your Stormcast because it's a model agnostic.
Oh, it is?
Game. Yeah.
Oh.
They make models for it, but you can put anything you want.
They're not going to stop talking, so thank you for the sub.
Sorry. Duff!
We don't stop talking. It's not part of our job. Hail, Lady Commander!
Impending Duff with the resub for 66 months.
Duff?
What's up, Duff?
I like my battle damage like I like my coffee. Pineapple on pizza.
What?
What?
Duff, hold on now.
Why are you coming here trying to start stuff?
We like pineapple on pizza here.
No, we don't. We don't approve of this.
Is it weird that I've been tempted to try it?
Ugh.
I usually
hurt my soul, Big J.
No, I have no. I used to hate it.
You hurt my soul,
but it's
Big
been
J.
so long since I've had it that I'm like,
hurts soul.
I could like try it.
No.
And maybe feel differently.
No.
Who knows?
Jade, what's going on?
It's so good.
Every time somebody orders it, I'm like,
it's good. It's not pizza. It's flatbread. As soon as pineapple touches it, it turns into a flatbread. That's just the way physics works. Das Fizzle, what's going on?
A slice won't kill you.
We had pizza from a really good place for lunch. What is it called?
I have no idea.
Something hot. I forget what it's called.
It's Tammy Co. That's all I remember.
What's it?
Tammy Co. is.
Oh, Tammy Co. Yeah.
I don't know what the name.
Tomato
really
is already sweet. No pineapple. Also true. Pizza is a flatbread. Untrue. Chicken egg conversation right there, baby. Hot Daisy. That's what it was. I was going to Daisy Hot Pizza.
Oh, Hot Daisy. Would not have guessed that.
And Kruger, because the figure is big diorama, I will use a lot airbrush. If the gunmetal paint with the airbrush, won't this spoil the effect of the paint since the glittery stuff in the paint will be separated from the air? Wait, what?
I use a gunmetal paint with
you can metallic through an airbrush. You got to be careful and thin it correctly. Usually the best way to airbrush metallics is to thin them way down, spray them in layers. You're not going to get single coat coverage. Spray it in a layer, spray another layer, because you'll find that it might speckle more through an airbrush than other paints. Right? Ours do very well, but
I would eat a breakfast pizza. The place we went, I feel like maybe had a breakfast pizza, because it said breakfast pizza for lunch, pizza for dinner on their sign outside. Maybe not.
Pizza?
I don't know. But I would eat a breakfast pizza.
I mean, it's breakfast food. You can put breakfast food.
I mean, it's just bread.
Yeah, it's just bread.
This hurts my soul.
Well, you wouldn't have like sausage, eggs, and bacon.
You would eat a breakfast pizza, and you know it. Stop that.
I don't though. I don't know that I would. I've passed it up too many times. I tried it once. We went to that one place and tried it, and it was just okay.
I don't know what one place.
It hurts my soul.
Dave did review it. Oh, he gave it a 7.2. So Trevor's got a higher rating. I would say they were Well, they were a little different,
They're different pizzas.
but they were both very, very
I
good.
thought that place
Wait.
was really good.
Is this the
But-
pizza guy?
Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, well, he's
Yeah.
the Barstool
Sports
Sports guy, but yeah.
Oh, was he an old? Okay, I had no idea. I just knew that
reviews
this guy
pizza.
like did
Yeah,
review
Dave
pizzas.
Portnoy, he
He goes to pizza
he's-
places like he
he's a
knows what real
little
pizza is.
Like, people love him or hate him.
Yeah.
But he does review. He goes to all these different pizza places and reviews.
Interesting.
But he gave Trevor's like an 8 something, I think 8.5 or something,
All right.
which is one of the highest he's ever given, I
Yeah,
think.
it seems really high.
You have to take in context. A 7 something is good for him.
Yeah.
No, but my pizza, Duff, is like yours sounds good. For the longest time, my mod pizza was black olives, mushrooms, and pineapple with hot honey to finish. When I went to, and this is gonna sound crazy, and people are probably gonna like scoff at this, but when I was in Germany, I was walking home and I was so hungry and didn't know what to eat and speak German, and I saw a pizza place and it smelled really, really, really good. And so I got pizza, and they put, the guy was really nice. I was like, I just want a pizza. And he's like, I can't
just
read your
want-
menu. And he's like, I can help you. And I said, I don't know, maybe like mushrooms or, and he's like, ooh, how about mushrooms and prosciutto? I'm like, yes.
Oh yeah.
It was so good.
Oh my gosh.
So I've started
Oh.
adding some kind of ham.
I want to be there for that conversation where she's like, I don't know what it is, says. I just want a pizza.
I walked in. It was really hard. I was like, everywhere I went by myself, I'm like, I'm really sorry, but I don't speak German. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't want to assume that you just speak English just because
Yeah.
I'm an American.
That's
you know?
very respectful
So
way
I
to do
was
it.
trying to be very respectful about it because I've traveled with people who are not, and I just think that's terrible and embarrassing.
It's pretty. Yeah,
So
it's pretty bad.
I would always like be very apologetic. I'm like, I don't speak German. Is there anybody who can help me? And in Germany, there's so many people that speak English.
Yeah.
So the woman standing behind the counter was like, she just kind of looked. She points to the guy and calls him over, and he came over, and I'm like, do you have a menu in English? He's like, no, but I can translate it for you. And he was super nice. And it was the same thing that the day before, I found this, it was like a potato place, and they had baked potatoes and French fries.
Oh, you told me about this
It was
place.
really good.
You told me about this place,
so good.
and I was so jealous.
And it was the same kind of situation. It was a woman standing behind the counter who looked at me like I had two heads and just looked at the guy next to her, and he came over and translated for me. And it was great. But anyway, the point of that is that ever since then, I've added something else
Right, yellow,
pork-like
green,
to my
yellow's right.
pizza. And
I don't know. That's a great question.
and it's really good. So now it's like a ham or Canadian bacon, mushrooms, black olives, pineapple, hot honey. So good.
I kind of love that order, but I feel like I wouldn't love it if I didn't remove the thing that I normally wouldn't like about it, which is the pineapple. Because I feel like for it to be like truly complete, it has to have the pineapple and the hot honey. Because like you don't just add hot honey to like the
You
rest
can.
of that.
I
like,
mean, you can just hot honey on just plain pepperoni pizza.
I suppose
It's
you
so good.
oh, I never thought about putting it on something that had spice to it already. Like
It's
like
really
a
good
like a
on
pepperoni
just
that had
pepperoni
some
pizza.
bite.
So good.
That's interesting.
Let's see. Do a lot of pizzas with ham in Germany. It was great. I mean, I know you probably wouldn't think of like getting pizza in Germany. but
Germany, not the pizza
I
country.
walked by and it smelled so good, and it just it hit the spot for me.
That's such an
It was a
interesting
really,
thing
really good pizza.
to like.
And it was like a white sauce. It didn't have like a heavy red sauce.
oh, with the
It was
prosciutto.
also different because I wasn't expecting that, but because I like red.
Was it like a heavier garlic sauce?
Maybe it was garlic. It wasn't heavy at all. It was really light.
Interesting.
But it was.
Because I feel like most of the time when you see a white sauce, it's either like a ranch-based sauce of some kind, which
Oh, no, it
is
wasn't ranch
gross,
at all.
or like a really like garlicky
They
cream
do it like
sauce.
Alfredo.
Yeah, it's kind of like an Alfredo, isn't it?
Sort of like an Alfredo, but I don't like Alfredo. Again, it was like almost like not a sauce even.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
probably was something just like a garlic.
Cream.
Yeah.
Which sounds awesome because garlic is pretty awesome.
Pedro Cudo Art said my favorite pizza here being close to Italy: prosciutto crudo, cherry tomatoes, mascarpone, buffalo mozzarella spheres. Not say other word. Oh, mozzarella balls. And ricotta on top. It's called Michelangelo. That sounds delicious. Or Michelle Angelo.
Italy prosciutto crudo. What's a prosciutto crudo? Is that just a type
It's
of?
prosciutto.
Okay.
Yeah, I think dried.
It's a little
Cherry.
crunchier.
Oh, it's just kind of like bacon almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, like crunchy bacon. Yeah. Cherry tomatoes, mascarpone, buffalo mozzarella spears. Huh. I mean, that sounds awesome.
That sounds.
But I'm also like, I'm one for weird bougie pizzas, so I'm game.
Kruger wants to know the temperature in the room. Do you want a specific temperature that you work at because of the paints? No. I don't
No.
think it matters.
We keep it cool during the summer, and we leave it during the winter time.
No, it definitely was not hollandaise. Like I said, it was barely anything. It was like, I'm used to a red sauce on my pizza. It did not have that. It was probably just like olive oil.
Are you usually okay with like white sauces on pizza?
I'm not a
Not normally.
huge fan of white sauce.
Yeah,
No.
neither am I.
I don't like Alfredo.
I don't like them for much the same reason. Because Alfredo is garbo. Well, Alfredo is usually less good than it should be.
There you go.
Yeah,
Super simple
Crudo is
lasers.
dry.
Those look sweet. What so you're using what, yellow transparent on the bottom it looks like?
No, I use bright yellow green.
Oh, bright yellow green. Okay. Is super duper subtle. It's hard to tell. And then that blue looks great.
I'm not sure you're allowed to have that opinion. My opinion is that it's still.
Fun fact in Lithuania, they add ketchup or some cocktail sauces to their pizza. I think
Barbecue
if it
chicken pizza with bacon, jalapeno, and pineapple. Maybe.
Italians would go there often,
I
half would
don't
never
like
come
the
back.
Barbecue and pineapple.
What's that?
Oh, fun fact in Lithuania, they add ketchup or some cocktail sauces to their pizza. I think if Italians would go more often, half would never come back from a hard
Oh,
time.
jeez.
There used to be this
I mean,
crazy
ketchup
place.
is just less fancy pizza sauce.
Happy Little
Right.
Boozer
Yes.
says you should check out the pierogi place in Gilbert. It's a change up, but delicious. So do they do different stuffed pierogies?
But then I
Because
have to go to
pierogi
Gilbert.
for me
That's so
is
far.
like a mini knish.
It's like a puff pastry wrapped around stuff. Is that what a pierogi is?
It's like a lot of carbs wrapped around a lot of potato.
I mean, to me,
Yeah,
that's
I was
pretty
gonna say,
descriptive.
It's like a pastry and potatoes, I feel like, are pierogies.
It's a Pennsylvania Dutch thing. Yeah, dumpling is a way to describe it. It's like a small knish. You know what a potato knish is?
Nope.
It's a Jewish deli thing. It's a pastry wrapped around a potato, like mashed potatoes inside of a pastry.
It's a filled
Sounds
dumpling made by
pretty good.
wrapping unleavened dough around a filling and cooked in boiling water.
Oh, there you
It's
go.
like dumplings.
Yeah. Okay. I
They're
mean-
occasionally flavored with a savory or sweet garnish. Typical fillings include potato, cheese, pork, sauerkraut, ground meat, mushrooms, fruits, and or berries.
I mean, this all sounds like things that I would eat.
This is an amalgam of things that I would eat.
Yeah.
Traditional.
I'm not sure about the
fillings-
cork though.
A
That one.
classic filling is pork with carrots, onions, parsley, garlic, and margarine.
I mean, yeah.
And then there's a ruski, which is Russian style, and it's mashed potatoes. What is quark? I don't know what quark
It was
is.
quark, not cork.
Q-U-A-R.
I'm trying-
Oh, it's a cheese.
The question was about
Oh.
what will happen if you freeze the paints and then unfreeze them. If they freeze solid, any liquid, any water-based product that freezes solid will not reconstitute, because the crystallization process is a chemical process that will change the actual base of the paint. So if the water and the medium start to crystallize, then you have a problem. That paint most likely won't go back to working great. It generally will be more pigment and textured, right? So be careful with that. But we freeze thaw our test our paints, triple freeze thaw test down to minus 18 C. But again, that's not like leaving it outside when it's snowing overnight. So we always say if you're ordering paints, no matter where you're ordering them from, no matter what brand you're ordering, if you're ordering water-based acrylic paints, make sure that they are being sent to a place where a human being can receive them at the time of delivery and not stay outside in the cold. So generally the truck transport of them and things like that isn't going to be a big, huge problem. So you don't have to worry too much about that. But again, you know, just take care. Don't let them freeze solid.
Good advice for those who are ordering stuff during the holidays.
Sugar Rush said my sister used to date a guy from Italy, and he would complain about how much he hated not having Domino's when he was home. No.
Domino's.
Come on now.
Oh no, that sounds like somebody who's not really.
That's not a real Italian.
Yeah. It sounds like they're not Italian. Every Italian that I've ever talked to has always been like, "This is not Italian." They are very, very
Pizza ain't really Italian.
That's like
the way we like it.
true. Yeah,
It's New York the way we like it.
Yep.
And Chicago and Detroit.
That's like people calling Taco Bell Mexican.
Yeah.
well, yeah. That Quark runs a bar on Deep Space Nine. Baby J, come back to Chicago. Pierogies available to the end of your days. I don't know. That Chicago place.
It's iffy at best.
Just about the food, even the order of it, no cappuccino after 11 a.m. I mean, that's true for me just because I can't be up all night.
Mess her whole day up.
Yeah. They do drink coffee after though, but it's they don't have cream in it. Or milk, I think is what the distinction
so just
is.
straight espresso now.
Yeah, I think they'll do espresso after.
No cafe au lait.
Yeah, but they don't do cream after 11 or something like that. I don't know. They got weird rituals when it comes to coffee. Source with the resub here for 9 months. Man, it's almost been a year, Source. Holy cow!
Thank you, Source.
Thank you.
Does Taco Bell qualify as Texican? What is Texican?
I'm sorry. What?
Tex-Mex?
You talking about Tex-Mex?
No.
Taco Bell does not.
Taco Bell literally has a food group all its own.
That's it.
Nobody knows what it is. It's just Taco Bell.
Have we been to a Tex-Mex? Like, have you and I been to a Tex-Mex-y place around here?
There really isn't one.
Okay.
There's not a good one.
Because I don't think I've ever had
There
Tex-Mex.
used to be a good place called Chevy's, but it's not.
Wait, like Chevy's Chevy? Like the chain? Oh, I have had Chevy's before.
That's Tex-Mex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had they used to exist up in. Wait, did I have? I can't remember if I had it before I moved to Washington.
Inspired by Mexico.
We used to go all the time when I lived in California.
Yeah, there's not really Tex-Mex here. There might be a restaurant someplace that we haven't seen, but it's all more Sonoran.
Kruger, I don't like sweet potatoes, so I did not eat sweet potatoes in Germany. But the potato place that I went did have a couple of sweet dishes.
I do really like the Sonoran Mexican food around here. It is really, really good.
It's not bad.
That I enjoy that style of Mexican food a lot.
Yeah, not bad. I love it.
Especially coming from me, who used to not like Mexican food for the longest time, which doesn't make any
Los
freaking
Dos
sense
is
to me.
one of my lifelong favorite Mexican spots.
It is really good.
Sugar Rush, again. Your opinion?
What did Sugar Rush say? Tex-Mex is gross. There's no good one. Yeah, that's not true.
Did I tell you that I took my dad to
Where do you
Los Dos?
live, Sugar Rush?
Yeah.
Because if you live anywhere other than Texas and say that, nobody should listen to you.
Yeah.
If you're a lifelong Texan and you say that, then there's some credence to it. There's something somebody's
Somebody's
hurt
done you
you
wrong.
along the way, and I feel sad for that.
No, Kruger, you don't wish you could live in California.
I lived in California, and I'll tell you what, I was very surprised when I moved to Seattle at how much nicer the people were. It was like a weird distinction that I just thought about. And this was a 12-year-old me, by the way.
I was gonna say, weren't you like 10 or 12?
I was like 12. And I was like, man, the people
In
up there are really
California,
nice.
I wouldn't say California only has two types of weather: storms or extremely hot. They don't. I mean, there are parts of California that get hot, but there are parts that are very, very cold.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Northern California gets really cold.
Northern California gets very cold.
I mean, hell, anywhere down along the beach cities in the winter is cold at night.
Yeah.
Like, really cold.
Yep.
Sugar Rush is living in New Mexico and said lived in Texas for 10 years.
Yeah, I don't trust you.
I don't trust you.
I was born and raised, and there's definitely really good Tex-Mex. I will say that it's very strange how in New Mexico, there's no good Tex-Mex that I've found.
Well, because they're into the hatch chilies.
Well, it's that Sonoran style too, right? Which is good. It stands on its own.
Tex-Mex, but Blood Brothers said Tex-Mex has become so homogenized, it's hard to find good Tex-Mex, even in Texas.
Mia's, if it still exists.
Oh no, Kruger, we gotta work on helping you spread the word that is not the fact. Kruger said, "I'm from Europe, and people here in Europe know that California is the best place in the U.S."
No, Kruger, no.
That's bad trolling.
Somebody's done you
Even
wrong.
Californians know that's not true.
Papa Chicken, we would not talk about that, no.
California is a love-hate state. You love to hate it. I lived there for how long?
I don't think there is a best state.
Nah.
They're all equally problematic and good at this.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's a best state, it would lead to the logic that you can move away from your problems and go to the best state, and that's not how that works. It's all about your people that you have around you and the things you choose to do with your time in said state that makes it good or bad.
North Dakota's expecting 2 to 3 inches of snow tonight.
How many?
What?
2 to 3 inches.
Woo!
Oh, I almost thought I heard you say 23 for a second.
2 to 3.
That's like end of the world type stuff.
Yeah. I do miss snow. A little bit. Just a little bit. Not like a lot.
We get snow here.
Sugar Rush, I
Frost
don't even
is
know
not
how to
snow,
talk
my
to you
friend.
anymore about Mexican food.
You've had better Mexican food in Milwaukee than you have in Texas. You just shush. You just shush. I don't know what restaurants the people you hang out with are inflicting upon you, but you're wrong.
You're going to the wrong places.
You're wrong.
Even though I don't know a place, there's a place that I know that I need to go if I'm ever in Texas, in Dallas, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but Will has told me about this place before. It's a place that used to be right across from the store that he used to own, and he was like, "All right, this place is amazing."
It totally snows in
go.
Arizona. You're saying it doesn't snow in Arizona.
Well, I guess technically I just did. Or I alluded to the fact, but then I always forget that Flagstaff exists.
It has snowed in Phoenix. It snowed at our place on 16th Street, Jordan.
Did it?
You posted the snowpocalypse of 2018.
Wait, but you said that it was like, you said it was like 5 feet of snow or something.
No,
It's snow.
it was snow.
Okay. I will concede that point to you, Jen.
We had snowpocalypse. We had to beg for help on the internet.
Oh god.
Come dig us out. We don't know what to do, how to act.
How many inches? Like maybe an eighth?
Yeah. It was a light dusting, but let's not talk about that. It was still serious trauma for those of us that live here.
Did everything shut down?
Yes.
I mean, we did.
That sounds. We did.
We sent people home because we were scared for their lives.
Did you really?
No.
We're like, you better get home before the big storm moves in.
We joked about it a lot.
I bet you would have.
It was like you couldn't see through the glass on Jen's car, and the little rug out front of our door at the other shop was covered in snow.
Here you go, Law Dog saying, what neighborhood were you trying to get Tex-Mex in Dallas? Because Dallas has incredible Tex-Mex, and San Antonio may as well be Mecca.
Yeah, San Antonio's fantastic. But Dallas.
Snowflakes in the air and DFW would shut down.
Yeah. Oh man. Let me tell you how bad it is in Seattle. First off, anytime there's any snow at all, everything shuts down. Nobody knows how to drive in the snow. At all. And I mean, we're talking about like a couple inches. People just call out from work. They're like, nope, not driving into work. I'm scared.
Kruger, we'd love to visit in Bulgaria.
That would be awesome.
Bulgaria? Ooh. Great nature.
I love Deadbeat says laughs in Canadian Southerners. No idea what snow is. So, incorrect. We have lots of places that get snow equivalent or greater than Canada. except for the areas where nobody lives in Canada.
They are usually pretty close to Canada, though.
Not always. There are mountains in Colorado that are equidistant to Mexico. They get more snow than Canada
That
does.
is true.
And people live there. It's pretty crazy.
Why
You
do
get a lot
people
of
do
snow
that?
in Flagstaff. Like, you get a
Do we
lot
really?
of snow in Flagstaff.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it turns out elevation brings
Well, I guess
snow.
there's skiing and stuff like that people do
Yeah.
up there too. So yeah, that makes sense.
Tech Elf says, you guys are so cute. I'll send you pics when we get a real snowstorm.
I have some really cool pictures of snow.
Tech Elf is like, oh, you sweet summer child. I mean, we're not saying that we know anything about snow in Arizona, but I have lived other places where snow has been a major problem. I got snowed in for 2.5 weeks in my land in Colorado.
Did you
Could
really?
not leave, right?
Oh my gosh.
Couldn't leave. Was about to run out of water
Oh no.
because on my land I didn't have the well dug yet, and all the water we had I had to truck in from the city, and I couldn't get my truck and my tank out to the city to go truck water back in. So I was rationing my water for 2 weeks because it was at the tail end of my water supply.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was the weekend where I would normally have gone and gotten water, and we got flash hit with like 18 inches, something ridiculous.
18
And
inches is a ridiculous amount of snow.
it may not have been. It was like over a foot though. And it
does,
was
yeah.
literally shut down the whole area. Nobody could get anywhere. The county didn't plow our roads. It was up to us. And
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was insane. So yeah,
I think
it was tremendous.
the most I ever got when we were in Seattle that I can think of was like 1.5 feet. So like 18 inches, similar to what you had.
Avian's like, to be clear. Source says, have I told you lately that I love painting? You should. You should.
I will say, I will take snow and cold over snow, cold, and wind.
Winnipeg and Manitoba and stuff get crazy amounts of snow. No lie. I've driven across winter snow-infested highways in Manitoba on the way to hockey games that would, curl your freaking toes. Too cold.
It's the wind that kills me.
Jason, snow melts. You had water for days? But that's not easy to do.
Don't you have to like boil it for a certain period of
I'm
time?
not going to go boil enough water. I was easier to just ration what I had. I was one man living in a 3,000 square foot barn. I didn't need a lot of water. I just had to flush the toilet and take showers sparingly. It's fine. Everything's fine. I live alone. I can smell how I want to. I didn't speak English. That's all I remember about the place. Sugar Rush, what place? Are you still angry about the bad places your people took you to eat Mexican food?
You should be upset. They did you wrong.
Gabe says, flush the toilet sparingly. I don't think I want to know more.
Yeah.
So the one thing you have to remember is that I lived in a motorhome, right? And so the motorhome, you can flush the toilet, unlike in a house, by just kicking the thing open and it drains into your black tank. You don't have to run water.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right? So when you number one, you don't have to flush. It still goes away, right? You remember being stuck at university because they shut down the whole city and you had to walk across home in a huge snowstorm? Felt like I was in a Soviet movie or something, trudging across the Arctic. Yeah, if you go to just about any Mexican place that is only one of one or one of two in the entirety of DFW, you're not going to leave in a bad mood. Nicaraguan food, totally different, but also good.
Whoa.
It's funny how Central and South America can get lumped in by people into like Mexican food. And it's like, you're talking about a totally different world of food. Ecuadorian food, maize balls, that's where we get pupusas from.
Is Nicaraguan a thing that you can get in like Austin?
You can get it here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, there's a spot that I want to. It's a pupuseria that I want us to all go to.
I'm in.
We need to take a lunch group lunch down to the pupuseria down on.
Pupuseria. Oh, I remember you talking about this place.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's like walking into somebody's like a weird church. It's like a church cafeteria. It's like all makes and models of temporary folding tables and chairs. None of it matches.
Yes.
Some of them have tablecloths. Some of them don't.
Yep.
You walk in, nobody speaks English. You point at things on the menu, and you leave happier than you've ever left.
There you go. I want 2 of that thing.
Yeah.
And they
it's
go.
So good.
Great.
It's so good. You can get empanadas here, just not the way we think of them from Chicago.
Yeah.
That place is ridiculous.
I haven't had a nakatamale in a long time.
We have really good tamales here.
Well, no, there's a different variation that they do for Nicaragua. That
I don't know this.
It's called a nakatamale, and they have like more fruits and stuff in them.
Mechanized imposter, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we're a border state, and we have amazing stuff from Central and South America here. Although Cuban food has been one that I have not found one that I've really enjoyed. Although I hear there's a couple of really good ones in Scottsdale, but they're highbrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, when I lived in California, I lived in Orange, and in the town square of Orange, there was a really amazing Cuban restaurant it was reasonably priced. It was a hole in the wall, amazing food. Mm-hmm. Just amazing food. And I hold everything to that bar now because it was my local place. I could go eat anytime I wanted to. It took me 5 minutes to drive to it because I live just north of the town square.
Yeah.
Or the circle, not the square, but...
Oh, hi. We have a chair guy.
Dracana says Mexican places are like Chinese places. If you walk in and the person at the front counter has just gotten out of school and is doing their homework, you're about to have the best food of your life. Family run, baby. But except when you accidentally ordered tripe.
Oh, God, no. Nope.
I like tripe.
Do you?
I can't.
It's an acquired taste.
That for me, I grew up where my grandmother would cook it for her niece while I was living with her for a while, and I couldn't do it while I was getting cooked.
Dead beast. Like Ecuadorian and Salvadoran food, right? If you find like a good place for either, it's like you go in and you get a quarter chicken baked, some Spanish rice, right? The yellow stuff that's like you can buy at the grocery store in big bags.
Yeah.
That. And they put all the right spices on it, and you get like a just a cheese pupusa with it. That was we called it the Spanish joint in Brooklyn, and it was walk from my apartment to this place, and it was right on Flatbush Ave, and it was just this little hole in the wall run by this family, and the grandma ran the place and cooked the food, and we'd walk in, and we didn't even have to order. We'd just walk in and sit down, grab our drink out of the cooler. She'd bring us a quarter chicken with rice and pupusas, and it was just done.
That sounds awesome.
Just done. It was just the most amazing thing ever. All right, well, I have to wait for all this to dry, but I think I'm going to try to do this as chicken crossing the road.
The chicken crossing the road.
I'll do like some sort of highway striping or landing zone striping on it and pile some larger terrain up on one side as
That'd be cool.
the curb or something like that, make it at a diagonal, because I feel like the model itself is pretty solid.
Bye.
Who's leaving?
Gabe.
Gabe, bye. Feeling pretty good about it. Easy glowing lasers. Took about 2 minutes. The only problem living in San Antonio is deciding where to go. There's so many places I can throw a stone and hit one. Restaurants, that's the problem with Arizona too. Arizona is one of the best eating cities that I've ever lived in, and I've lived in Manhattan, right? In New York City. And New York City probably has us beat by just a little bit. I feel like it's more convenient to get everywhere here in the central Phoenix area. And we literally have everything. Kruger says blue lasers. So is he from the good mech? So blue are large lasers. Green are medium lasers. The greenish yellow are medium lasers. Blue is large lasers. Red is small lasers. That's just a generic Battletech theme. So that helps you identify weapons on your mechs if you're running lasers. Obviously, Gauss weapons don't have any color to them. Neither do any ballistics. They're defined by the barrel and the chamber and all that stuff.
How effective is Gauss in BattleTech again?
Very. It's a very long distance weapon that has very high damage output. It's the ballistic PPC.
Okay.
Basically. but it does 15 damage, so it's
Uh-huh.
one of the highest weapons in the game, other
Yeah.
than the AC-20s.
And it doesn't do heat.
It generates 1 heat,
Yeah.
and the weapon explodes, not the ammo.
Which is good.
No,
Usually.
because it takes up a lot of spots and will blow up.
Right.
Yeah, so it's very volatile. So
Okay.
it's a mech. If you have a Gauss weapon, you need to keep that mech out of the line of fire. Because once you get a crit on a spot with a Gauss, that whole mech's probably gone. You're going to lose all torso and everything. If the
geez.
Gauss is in the torsos, forget it. You're going to lose your engine.
Oh.
Because when a Gauss blows, it's like losing an ammo compartment.
Okay.
It's just they replace with Gauss the ammo being the explosive part because it's just solid slug with no propellant or anything because the
Right.
Gauss just is magnetic rail, but all the components of the Gauss are volatile and will blow up, and so that's the difference. But it does 15 points of damage and has like range out to like 30.
That's very long.
It's stupid.
That is stupid long.
And there's mechs with 2 of them.
I will tell you, the upside of me having played more Mech Warrior lately is I want to play Battletech again.
Yeah.
I want to play Battletech
Yeah,
again.
you
So.
can put a blood asp or an assault with 2 Gauss weapons in the back. It seems like a lot of weight and money to spend on a mech, but holy crap.
I've been
Give him
playing
a line of
Fafnir
sight.
lately.
Yeah, Gauss will wreck your world on the table. It's crazy. Dual Gauss. Yeah, dual Gauss is just not fun. Especially if somebody's bought their gunnery skill down, right? To like a 3 or a, God forbid, a 2.
Yes, Mo, I've been playing a little bit recreationally. Not as if I'm like super into it, just like we're bored on an evening and we'll hop on and play it.
Yeah, Gauss and MechWarrior Online is pretty brutal too, but it has that charge time that makes it hard to fire.
I love that. There's something about that I actually really like.
Yeah, well, we'll all kill you before you can kill us. Because you're waiting for it to go zzz. And in the meantime, I've fired 2 volleys of SRM6s at you, and my lasers have been going full time.
Look, I didn't say that you weren't going to blow me up. I just said that I like the mechanic of it.
You get a light mech and you get around your feet, and your Gauss weapon is completely... I mean, you can get lucky in the video game, right? Because you can just get lucky and like Gauss like the head or leg off a light mech. But Rifleman 2C with a radar dish is still one of your favorite mechs. Gauss with targeting computer in the tabletop game, if you're using targeting computers, can be brutal. But you have to have everybody with them, right? You have to triangulate. That's how that works on the tabletop. You have to have a command console in order for the targeting computers to work. Oh. Got to hide behind your team mechs. When you have Gauss, yes. Let them soak everything. Let them tank for you. Let your team is the best tank. Everybody else on your team is the best tank. Yeah. I'm happy with this guy, though. I'll figure out once we get the base done and painted what I want to do for, like, going back. Because I didn't really think about, like, iconography on him. And I probably should have done something like a number on the leg.
Oh, before doing all that.
So I might have to do some iconography if we decide to do that. And, like, a unit marking. And, you know, like, there probably needs to be a Snow Raven thing somewhere on it. And paint that, freehand that on, and then damage it. But we've got some Trench Crusade models being printed out. Ooh. I switched over and I got you the Heretic Legion.
Oh, sweet.
So Jordan will be painting up the Heretic Legion warband, and I will be painting up the Trench Pilgrims.
Oh, Trench Pilgrims, yeah.
The Trench Pilgrims warband. And then right before the stream, he sent the big guys. So he sent the big heavy unit for you, which I forget what it's called. It's called the Sin Eater.
Yeah, the big thing with the balls on it.
Yeah, the big thing with balls on its hands, and then the shrine, the big walking temple for me.
When did you want?
It's a dreadnought, basically. It's a church dreadnought.
When did you want to start those?
Whenever they're printed. I've told Brennan to get them on the plates and get them printed, and we'll see what happens.
We'll let you guys know.
No, Westphalia. I mean, Avian, I can only paint so much. It's already asking me a lot to paint a warband in the same time this guy will do it. Because if we give ourselves a week to paint them, he'll be done in 2 days, right? And I'll be crying on day 5.
I can make it
as to who made these stupid rules, right? Yeah, we got the official models sent over to us today.
That's awesome.
Big thanks to the team at Trench Crusade, and we're hoping to get them on the stream with us.
Oh,
so
that would be
as
super cool.
As of right now, we're looking to get 1 or 2 of them. Tomas, I think maybe Tomas is he's the guy that created Mordheim.
Very cool.
And so we're hoping to get them at least voiced in, maybe Zoom called in on the stream.
That would be really cool.
So we'll let you guys know in Discord. This will be a good segue to getting us out of here, because you need to join the Discord with the links that I think Jen put up in the stream.
Yep.
Scroll back up. Make sure if you're not a part of the Discord already that you get on there, because we will be keeping you posted on when we plan to do the Trench Crusade Warband painting. We plan to do them like in a week, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. We'll see what the models look like when they're printed and how detailed they are. But I'm doing Trench Pilgrims. Jordan's doing Heretic Legion.
Yep.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about some of the game and the lore and stuff like that. We really love what they've been doing, and their last Kickstarter was ridiculous. Did 3.3 million and is all 3D printed models.
Crazy.
And just really, really good attitude from those guys. They did not make any promises they can't live up to. They stopped doing stretch goals and were very honest about it. About halfway through the campaign, they were like, we're not doing any more stretch goals because we won't be able to deliver it to you people. And sales skyrocketed with their honesty, which is great. So just really guys after our own heart. We really love the way they've handled it. And just great morals and ideas going on. Plus some of the best artists and writers and people that have been involved. Like I said, Tomas invented Mordheim.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And worked on a ton of games at Games Workshop for 30 years. Has been a big guy.
He was from that background.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's tremendous. As a matter of fact, Lawrence Blanchitsu Blanche is part of the gameplay testing group that these guys created Trench Crusade with, playing like in the bedroom with him before he became bedridden. I think he's house ridden now. He can't.
Oh, jeez.
I think he lost his leg, diabetes. I don't remember. But yeah, 7-headed serpent warband looks pretty cool. There's a lot of really cool stuff from it, Drac. But Jordan and I will each be painting a warband up, talking about it, and then we'll try to schedule one day during that streaming session when we're painting to get some or all of their team is only 4 people.
Wow.
That's it, 4 people. Now they use other people like for sculpting and things like that, but yeah, 4 people in the Trench Crusade group, and we're hoping to get 1 or more of them on the stream to talk to us about it. So it'll be a great time for you guys to show up, come and ask some questions, study up on it, find out more about the lore. We'll be talking about it, having them guide us through the insanity that is Trench Crusade. So it should be fun. We don't do that very often, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that all comes together. I'll keep speaking to them, and we're going to get it all planned out. But it should be good.
Excellent.
So thank you so much for hanging out with us, guys and gals. We love having you here. Remember that we stream 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here in Phoenix, Arizona. So if you ever look and see that it's between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Arizona, as you do, I know everybody checks their clocks sometime during the day to say, what time it is in Arizona. Well, if it says it's between 2 and 4, you should be here. No excuses. That's how that works. Scroll back up to the links that Jen put in the chat there. Check out the store at monumenthobbies.com, where you can pick up all the wonderful Protocol paints and brushes that you see us using daily on here. And then the FLGS link that'll show you to their local stores near you in your country, your part of the world, your town. Please support local. Those guys and gals that run those stores provide you with an amazing area to go meet friends, be social, buy stuff, and enjoy this hobby the way it was meant to be. So please show them the love. And then also join us on our Discord and our YouTube channel. We stream live on Twitch and YouTube simultaneously, but the stream goes immediately to the live section on YouTube, where it's cataloged forever or until Google dies. And then join us on our Discord, where we have 24 hours of banter and cool people like you that can get over 5,000 cool artists.
Yep, 5,000.
Yeah.
It's insane. We're still planning our giveaway stream. These guys are on the hook for it, so they'll be letting you know in the Discord when we plan to do a giveaway stream for hitting 5,000 amazing members and artists in our Discord, so stay tuned for that. And stick around and show some love to the place we wind up rating, some more hobby goodness for your evening, and we will catch you back here tomorrow. That's simple.
Bye, everyone.
See you later, gang.
Bye.